I have good news. I had another rear spring show up and my two front shocks. So now the only thing I'm really missing is one more front spring. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Jeep to the car wash, pressure wash it really good underneath, and start working on the back. I need to drop the gas tank so that I can do the last bolt in the bumper, and then I'll have all the bolts in the bumper. And while the gas tank's down, I can get the shackle bolts out too, a lot easier. Not have to cut them. And then hopefully by the time I'm done with the rear, the front spring might show up. So I don't know, it's kind of risky, but if the front spring doesn't show up, I'll just have to make a bastard pack or something for one side of the front just so that it's level. Obviously that's not ideal, but I want to get it lifted before Moab so that my steering isn't rubbing really bad and destroying itself. Also, I got a spare off of Craigslist. This is a 311050 BFG all-terrain, just like what I'm running. So I'm going to get that dismounted sometime the next couple days and get it mounted on the last beadlock so I can get it on the rear. It came with a bunch of other parts too, like I got a seat and an extra rear bumper and stuff. Not that I need it. So once I get that last beadlock mounted, I'll get this little tiny spare off and adjust the mounting point so that the beadlock will fit. And then I'll have a full-size spare before we go to Moab, which is good since the front is locked. Alright, I got the Jeep up on stands, ready to start the rear. I went ahead last night and took the wheels off, just so I didn't have any excuse to get started today. So I haven't lifted a YJ since 2009, so it's been a while, but this will be pretty easy since I'm not worried about track bars or sway bars, and I've already got my brake lines and everything extended, so this should go pretty quick. And I've taken the opportunity over the last year basically to pre-spray all of the bolts with PB Blaster. So these bolts have been sprayed probably 3 or 4 times over the last few months in preparation to get them to come out like this. So I was working on putting some bushings in, and UPS dropped off my new air compressor, so that was a nice surprise. Alright, so I'm finally going to get my last two bumper bolts in. Right there, looks like they're lined up. There we go. That was impossible to do with the gas tank in the way. And now I can also replace these bushings for the shackles and get my longer shackles put in. Alright, I got the shackles in, I got my bumper bolts in, ready to raise this gas tank back up, get it bolted back in. I was using my my motorcycle jack here and an old wheel to help hold it up while I was working under it, but ready to go back together, past the halfway in the rear. Ow. Alright, all back together. Just got to put the gas cap back in, but got the bolts facing out now, the way they should be, so I don't have to drop the gas tank if I want to remove the shackles again. I might have some clearance issues with this tailpipe, so we'll see. Well, my camera died right as I was torquing everything, but I did get everything torqued while the weight was on the rear axle, and I used just factory torque specs that were in my service manual, my Haynes manual. So it's definitely lifted a little bit. It looks like I netted a little under 2 inches, even with the 4-inch springs and the 5/8 shackles. It only gave me about just under 2 inches of lift. So the Jeep was definitely lifted prior to this. The rear shackles are 5/8 boomerangs from Moore. I'm going to use 3/8 in the front just because this Jeep is getting a 8.8, and since the 8.8 tube is thicker, it has the same effect as lowering the Jeep. So that extra 1/4 inch of length will help offset that a little bit when I get that axle swapped in. So I'm pretty pleased. I think it looks good. I'm beat and I am dirty, but I'm halfway done with the lift. I'm still waiting for one more front spring to get here, but I got plenty of other things I can be doing till that gets here. I still got to do my slip yoke eliminator and get my U-bolts, drive shaft U-bolts converted, I guess, however you want to say it, for the front and the rear drive shaft. While I had everything off, I had the tire and and the spring and everything out of the way, I did a little bit of a rattle can restoration and just painted the frame a little bit, made it look a lot better. The frame is in perfect shape. It's just old and a little discolored, but I pressure washed it right before doing this, so I think it looks a lot better now. So up next will be the front. You can see how it's a little bit lower, but it doesn't look too bad. I mean, if it had a hard top on it, it would sit even more flush or more level than this. But I'm going to take it up the road tomorrow and put some gas in it. The gas tank is completely empty because I had ran it dry so that I could drop it to put the shackles in and those last 4 rear bumper bolts. So now that that's taken care of, I'll put some gas in it so that when I jack the front up and it's teetering, it won't be teetering on the jack stands where the engine's trying to weigh the front down. The gas tank in the back will add a lot more weight, make it a little bit less sketchy. So that's it for today, but next weekend, for sure, hopefully, maybe, if the spring arrives, this Jeep will be ready to go. I can't mark these out yet, but we're halfway done. And these will be done next too.